So it's been billed as the white smoke in the Vatican moment that EU ambassadors finally reached a formal negotiating mandate for the upcoming Brexit negotiations with the UK. And the key point that was made in this document, the key idea behind the central negotiation, is why a Canada freestyle agreement that currently exists between the EU and Canada will not be applicable and will not be appropriate to replicate towards the UK. And instead, the EU have agreed on a corresponding standards over time policy, an idea of dynamic alignment. As the EU standards develop, the UK's automatically develop alongside it. Now, looking back at David Frost's speech earlier last week, that seems to be a major clash in the views as to how these negotiations are going to go. So what are the next steps in terms of the Brexit negotiations? Well, on Thursday, the UK released their negotiating mandate, which will be far closer to that Canada-style free trade agreement and moving into services, etc. And then that will tee up negotiations to begin early next week, with March the 3rd being mooted as the day that negotiations on a face-to-face level begin. We're a little bit unclear in terms of the sequencing and the topics of these negotiations, although there's every chance that they could take a 3-week rhythm. 1 week of preparation, 1 week of negotiation, and 1 week of feedback to MEPs and national parliaments. So whilst some of these negotiations at the moment have been fairly good-humoured, it seems like they could well become quite bad-tempered as the EU and the UK seek to keep to this very razor-sharp deadline. And there's one thing for sure, and that's that de Havilland will be closely monitoring how these negotiations move across a range of sectors.